Maupo po kayo at I have a prepared speech here. It does reflect some but not all of my aspirations in life, what I want for my country. But just the same, to do justice to the guy who industry niya, I will read it but I will add my own para hindi kaping. To the awardees, the officers and members of the JCI Senate, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a good and pleasant afternoon to you all. Today, we honor and give recognition to three outstanding Filipinos whose exemplary achievements have contributed to public welfare and national development. Their selfless dedication to their profession or vocation has resulted not only to the advancement of the respective fields of endeavor, but also made significant contributions to the betterment of our countrymen and to our country at large. This ceremony carries the theme vision of change, an apt description of the times that we live in. In this period of our history, when our countrymen look for people and leaders who possess the vision to help them achieve genuine changes that they long for in their lives. The people we honor here today are one of them, or any one of them. They have truly been visionaries, steering the respective institutions and companies in a way that led to advancement in their fields, while at the same time changing lives and changing a difference in our history. We see this in Reverend Father Anton Pascual, a man who serves God by serving his people. He continues to enrich his priestly vocation as a respected community leader in the various institutions and cooperatives. Provide affordable healthcare, accessible loans, and self-improvement programs for the poor and marginalized Filipinos. We also see in this si Quisha Jr., who has recently served as our ambassadors of the United States. His financial expertise and acumen also put us to good use when he became Bangko Sentral governor. He has served in other capacities in the insurance, utilities construction, business process outsourcing companies in the country. And finally, we see in this in William D. Dar, whose life's work found a way to feed millions of people. His works in steering and directing the International Rice Research Institute and other agricultural research institutions have been instrumental in giving food and opportunities not only for our countrymen, but for people all over the world, especially in India and the sub-Saharan Africa. In this individual, we see not only exemplary but truly extraordinary Filipinos. By dedicating all their lives to work for the betterment of the fields of endeavor, they have uplifted not only their sectors, but also our people and our country in the process. Indeed, they have earned the honor to be called outstanding. Let us emulate their commitment, dedication, and industry, so that one day we may become a great nation filled with the excellent, extraordinary, and outstanding people. Once again, thank you and congratulations. So yung akin naman, tapos na silang tatlo. You know, I am not really a familiar figure to you. I come from a place, the corner of Mindanao. And though I became mayor for 23 years in that city, I'm a guy coming in from the cold outside of the national arena. So hindi ho ninyo masyado ako kilala, and I understand that, well, because of maybe destiny, I am here in Malacanang and presiding over the affairs of our nation. Nung nagkampanya ho ako, I promised you, aside from the economic factors, we said I'm not an expert and do not have the expertise for that. But I run the city just like any other. But ako naman, napunta kayo ng Davao. It used to be a rusty urban-rural area combination. But in the 23 years, nakita naman mo ang resulta ng pagod ko. At Davao, something like, at one time we reached 9% growth, the highest in the country. And all of this is really because of the vision of the people of Davao City, that they like a city that is peaceful, drug-free, trouble-free, freed from criminal lurking in the streets and everything. So yun ang binigay ko sa Davao. But there are costs. And so I really at that time did not know the enormity of the drug problem. And it even horrified me, not only appalled, nung na-realize ko how widespread it was. When Filipinos addicted to shabu surrendered to the police and to the barangay captains in droves, almost daily like zombies, by the hundreds of thousands. So I knew that I will have a problem managing the scourge. 4 million is 4 million. The 3 original was a figure by General Santiago of the PDEA 2 years ago. Hindi ko binilang yung akin because by the year end, I know that I would have breached the million mark. So 4 million Filipinos addicted and all potential criminals. And alam mo, ang droga, it does not end there, the story that i-rehabilitate mo. First, it breaks down the family. Dysfunctional talaga lahat yan. Bugbog ng nanay, sinasampal, patay, rape, and all the evil things you can think of with a criminal mind, crazy mind. Yan kasi ang problema sa droga. From a very good boy, a very good girl, tapos sa high school o sa college, tinamaan ng droga. And the forensic guy says that if you are in it for a long time, so 1 year above, the strength of the person, it shrinks the person's brain. So kumukuyos. And that is really my problem. It does not end with a social dysfunction, family dysfunction. Then you have to deal with this individually. And you must remember that they are spread all throughout the country. When I ran, I promised you that I will deal with the drugs, corruption, and criminality. On the side, sabi ko, kukuna ako ng mga bright sa economics because I was never one. And as a matter of fact, you might want to know, Secretary Doresa, Sunny Dominguez, mga kababata ko yan sa high school, and I was an underachiever simply because I wanted to be an underachiever. I never report to the school regularly. I prefer to drink and all the sorts of adventure that a non-student would do. So they graduated, I was left behind, and it took me 7 years to finish high school. So, ganun lang ang buhay. So I had to rely on people other than the law itself because nakatapos ako ng law by the grace of God. What all others, itong ganito na laro, I am not a killer. I do not relish or enjoy a Filipino sprawled there with all the blood and glory. You know, every time I decide on things to buy guns and bullets and everything, there's always in my mind that these things will be used against the Filipino. Hindi ako nag-i-enjoy dyan. I am not really into so much about religion, but I still have deep and abiding faith in God. Naniwala ako ng karma. Pero yung problema ko ngayon sa droga, pati corruption, I will hit hard. Pumauna mo tayo sa droga. God help me, but I cannot. We were discussing it. I was talking to the speaker. I included him as a National Security Council. And I said, hindi ko to kaya. And even if Congress would give me a carta blanca authority to kill everybody, I won't have the time nor the bullets to do it. You must be put on notice now. Mabuti ang malaman ninyo. I said how horrifying it is. And this is the drug industry. So if you expect miracles from a government, forget it. I wanted to meet the speaker, si Jess nandoon, and the Senate President, si Pimentel. Sabi ko sa kanila, hindi ko kaya to. Hindi kaya na. Ito ang picture ng mga gago. Ayan, si Luot. Ito yung damang generals na puno. Hindi ko kaya to kasi sobra karami. These are all names. Pare-pareho yan. Kaya I took time to say that I will have to say my piece because you must understand me. Because if you cannot understand me, you will have a troubled life here in the... You have here about 1,800 policemen and about 700 barangay captains, city mayors, governors, and a few congressmen mentioned here. I think they would decide to make it public, and I would not interpose any objection. Ayaw ko lang manggikan sa akin kasi ako yung enforcement, hindi naman ang Congress. But I'd like to ask for an advice. Anong dapat gawin ko? Ako gusto kong umiyak. Talagang parang hindi ko kaya. Hindi ko kaya ganun karami. I now realize that about 15 years ago, 17 years ago, we were already a narco-politics country. Exactly just like the Latin American nations that are already fractured. Doon sa Latin America, sabi ng mga taga roon, in our Ion Grillo was here about 4 nights ago, and we talked about the history of doon sa Latin America, ang governor pati mayor hindi binibigyan. Ang governor doon pati mayor nagbabayad sa kartel para hindi sila patayin. And they choose the people who would run for public office. And this was this lady mayor who defied the cartel or the gangster, she took her oath of office in the morning, nung pagkahapon, pinatay siya. Simple as that. Now, kung ano lang sana to, in limited number, maybe 500, 1,000, okay lang. Pero kung umabot 4 million, and you know, I entered the presidency ito ngayon, midterm halos, and the budget that I am using now is the budget of Aquino. Ang naiwan sa akin because of the bottoms up is just maintenance and operations. So that when they kept on hammering me, na bakit mo pinapatay, bakit mo hindi ilalagay sa mga rehab centers? In the first place, I didn't have them or already filled to the beams. Were it not for the good soul of a Chinese guy, he donated a 10,000 facility. And I opened the military na buksan mo yung kampo mo because sila lang ang may mga lupa na malaki. And it's there. And I'm releasing 1 billion. That's the last of the binigay ng PAGCOR na social fund. Ibigay ko yan sa nakailangan ng medisina pending. Pero pwede ko silang dalhin doon sa Zambales. Lahore in Nueva Ecija. And I have this 10 billion to sustain them sa mga medications nila. 1 billion. I program a 10 billion for the next 6 years. Budget pa yan. So yan ho ang nangyari. Na si Andrea turned about, may isa pa siyang 1 billion kita ng PAGCOR. I gave it directly to the DSWD kay Tigualo. Sabi ko, lahat ng Pilipino ngayon naghahawak ng resita na walang mapuntahan, may resita sa doktor. You can go, this is a national device television now, go, punta kayo sa pinakamalapit na DSWD. Kunin ninyo yung medisina ninyo. Binitawan ko yung pera 3 days ago. Doon ninyo kunin. And for the addicts, I have another 1 billion. Go to the nearest DSWD for your tranquilizers and everything. But please, stop. Ang problema dito ganito, hindi tayo nakakaintindihan eh. Ayaw kong mamatay kayo. Hindi ko utos yan. A third ng yung nangamatay, puro inkwentro yan. Now you must remember that when I entered the presidency, I fired about 9 generals. Even before I became a president, and you do well to review the figures. There were already a lot of killings then. And it became a profound problem when I assumed office. And I assure you, yung mga balot-balot, yung balote ng plastic, ang katawan, hindi trabaho ng gobyerno yon. Hindi kami gumagawa ng mami. Hindi ito Egypt. We do not export anything of that kind. But that is an indication of torture. We do not do it. Kasi kung lumaban ka, talagang mamamatay ka. But torture, kayong maniwala, killing a person on bended knees with his hands tied at his back, hindi amin yan. Now, kayo na ang bahala. You have to sort it out because I cannot explain every death in this country. Pero kung sabihin mo na atras ako dito, I cannot because I cannot afford it. I cannot now stop the momentum with the 4 million drug addicts spread all throughout the country. I would be abandoning my job. It is a harsh one, but somebody has to be crucified for it. Ako, well, okay lang sa akin. No problem. It's part of the territory to be disliked. Uh, Whatever you, hindi naman tayo magkaintindihan at lalo na sa politika. You might not want my philosophy about how I look at things, but you can be very sure that corruption will stop. At sabi ko naman sa inyo, you just have to, mayroon dyan a brewing. And I intend to, I said, I'll be harsh. I already fired 192 itong sa, kaya ako, ayaw ko yung the least government intervention, the better. Yung mga regulatory bodies, so most of them sa LFT, RB, and LTO, talagang sinibak ko sila. I told them to resign. Meron dito in a brewing, so you can be very sure that I'll just be careful. I do not want to be a persecutor, but you can rest assured. May 991, yung 8888, you just call that number, place there your complaint. If you want, name the person, no need for you to identify yourself. Lagay mo, lalabas yan doon sa TV so that the country will know who are the corrupt people in this country. And you can be very sure. Sabihin mo lang, ako mismo, Mayor, when I was applying rather for a railway, it took NEDA until now, sa awa ng Diyos, nandoon pa sa kanila. Pero sabi ko, punitin mo na lang. Ang sabi ko dito, 90 days. No, 1 month. No 90 days, but I reduced it to 1 month when I saw that everything was going smoothly. So BIR, you can get your whatever in 3 days, but each department will have no on 1 month. 1 month, not 90 days. 1 month to finish. If you do not get your papers on time, and to the Republic, kung ayaw ninyo, takot kayo na magkasabit-sabit, but you have supplied all, the shopping list has been given to you, and it is all there. Kung ayaw ninyo, ibigay ninyo dito sa akin, Executive Secretary's Office. I will do the overseeing sa papel ninyo. Kung sabihin mo may kalaban ka, yan, si director dyan, ano yan, kurap yan, bigay mo papel mo dito sa akin. Ako ang magpatakbo. And I will ask them, how many days can you finish the job? Then after that, if you have any misgivings, if there's a correction or something, you let me know because I will tell the guy that yung papel mo kulang. 1 month, lahat ng departamento without exception. So yan ang order ko sa kanila. Criminality, yan lang akin eh. Corruption, drugs, criminal. Ang corruption is a virulent thing. It's a virulent, sad experience program. Hindi natin alam ganun pala kalala. Pagka yan nakabitawan mo, they are users. And if they are users, they have to be, unless you are a son of a millionaire, sino the owner of the shipping and airplanes. Kung hindi ka lang naman anak na you have to contaminate one to finance your addiction. That's why it spreads so quickly. And I said, touch all the lives. Hindi ako pwedeng umatras dito. And everybody's patay. Sino na ba naman gustong pumunta? I repeat, yung nakatali, yung unbendedness, nakatali sa likod. Would it make you a better policeman or a soldier? At saka pag ginawa nila yan, gano'n. Baka siya ang babarilin ko. I mean, if you keep on killing people, tapos it becomes a popular notion na gano'n. Huwag mong gawin yan. Kasi, especially if papalusot ka na, ito sir, dagpuser to. Sabi ko, I've been mayor for 23 years. Do not. Talagang iritang kita. I will, babarilin talaga kita. Huwag mong gawin sa akin yan. Killing innocent people. Anyway, matagal naman kami politiko. You've never heard me doing terrorism or elections. I said, became mayor for 21 time congressman, and one time the vice mayor of my daughter. Yun ang medyo marama. Nanununtok talaga ng tao. Nagbubugbog. Pero wala kang nakita na may sinaktan ako na tao. Yung si Inday, ang delikado. So that is my piece of story. Kung di kayo kontento dyan, punta kayo ng sa Malacanang. Kung you can call Secretary Doresa, give him the papers. At ako ang magpadala ko sa Secretary. Alam na nila yan, ayaw ko talaga ng corruption. I am not the most honest person, but you know, I'm about to end I'm 72. By the time, I don't know if I could really survive 6 years. Gusto ko na lang mag-iwan. Wag na tayo na magdrama about pinaka-honest, pinaka-matapang. Huwag na yan. I just want to give a respect to the Filipinos. The reason why we have not progressed is really corruption. That is my honest opinion. We are like, by analogy, an airplane running for speed sa runway. But until now, hindi tayo naka-take off. There is no lift because of corruption. But maybe, just maybe, in the fullness of God's time, baka we will be able to attain a certain degree of a more civilized bureaucracy. Total ang industry ng tao nandyan. But you must also remember that I have this to face the Communist Front. Secretary Doresa is there. We talk about the problem of the nila that they want to release 130 prisoners before the signing the peace agreement. And sabi ko kay Jess cabinet meeting, I will not do it. I have conceded too much too soon. So just give me the ceasefire agreement and I will release all of them. But not before. But not before. No more releases of dito sa Mindanao, it remains to be a troubled land. Itong Maote, news was carried by a Moro ambassador, former. Sabi niya na maghinto sila basta maghisto ang military sa operation. I said, no. You do not put any condition. Ako yung gobyerno. Bakit ako maghinto? Because they threatened to go down for the mountains to burn Marawi. So go ahead. Be my guest. We will wait for you there. Walang problema. Bakit sunugin mo ang Marawi na? Those are the things that sabi ko, I am the government, do not place conditions on my shoulder. Will not. Maybe out of goodwill I offer to you. I have already released all the big leaders of the communists. The Tiamson were really the ideologues there. So they went to Davao and I said they asked for 130 more. No more. Nada. Wala na. Yan ang ano ko. Sana maintindihan mo rin kasi yung father, yung mga pare kasi, ang problema nito ganito. Would you believe it? It's really, with your respect, divided yan sila. Totoo lang. May mga pare na yung nakita siguro, the misery and how a drug addict wallow in kasi kung makita mo wala na eh. Ang problema ganito, anak ko, papag-aralin ko, lalo na yung taga Middle East. Ang husband sa Qatar, ang nanay na sa Saudi Arabia. Tapos, they are thinking that sending money para kita na engineering only to find out at the end of the day nanulong sa droga o yung mga anak nilang babae nare-rape ng mga. Kaya one of these days I will not allow. Sabi ko nga, kayong mga tinamaan, huwag kayong mag-standby dyan sa mga kanto-kanto. Go inside your houses. Pag nakita ka, dadamputin ko kayo. Ayaw ko, because ang mga tao, they have lost the right. And I am addressing the wrong crowd. Actually, yung mga mahirap, hindi na makauwi, matakot na mag-uwi, hindi na lang mauwi kung gabi na alas 12, makitira na lang because they cannot go home because of so many mga buang dyan on the streets. Kaya I don't know what happened to the petition sa ano. Kagabi noon, ko yung 2 patay na nagrambol. The Supreme Court has yet to rule on the issue of human rights about children being, you know, we are not arresting the children. We are taking them into custody for their protection. And that is why, that is the rationale behind itong curfew. They have to be protected because if they mix up in the middle of the night until the wee hours of the morning, unless they are into drugs and they are the ones who are made the runners, kasi pagdating ng pinakialaman kasi talaga. Ako, I have the highest of respect for Pangilinan. But yung no liability, labas-pasok ang mga bata, you can ask any policeman or anyone connected with the law enforcement. We produce a generation of criminals. Kasi pagdating doon, pagsabi below 15, o sabihin paski 16, 15 siya, the police must release them immediately or face charges. Whatever the crime that child committed. Maybe he will rob and kill. Maybe he will rob, kill, and rape. Baski ano, pagka sinabi 15 years old, release. Nuhinuhay. Kita man sa EDSA, yung mga snatching dyan, harap-harapan, tapos takbuhan. I'm sure they were caught. They were caught. But the problem is, pagdating doon, for record purposes, and then released again to commit another crime. Tama yung tayong mga abogado, yung Spanish natin, still correct. Below 9, talaga walang yan. Above 9, below 12. Then you temper it with the correctional penalty. Above 12, below 16, you apply the indeterminate sentence law. Ang nagkulang kasi noon, it was good. But the law did not provide for itong mga correctional where they are taught to understand the responsibility. Wala silang sense of accountability. Many of them, yung mga malalaki na, walang sense because they go in and out of prison until eventually they become adults and go to prison. Kaya ang prisuhan natin, hindi na sila makatulog, ganon. And the human rights dito na look at the sordid state of the penal system of the Philippines. Diyan, nakatindig, palit-palit sila, siya matulog ngayon, siya magtindig ngayon. Sabi ko, mirise kayo. That's what you get for. But we will also try to improve it. But unless we have the, ang inuna ko nga, sabi ko, billion ako doon sa Yung lahat ng mga tao ngayon na may resita, December ngayon, I'm sure, yung mga 1 billion na, marami nang mabili yan. Kung ano, I'm releasing another 1 billion para solely for the medications. I do not have the rehab houses. But marami pang bakante doon sa Fort Magsaysay. It's good for 10,000. Kaya ako, I'd like to thank that gentleman from China, si Wang. Whatever your motivation, but I'm sure he was driven with this sense of started this little business here in the Philippines. He went back to China and he became a billionaire of sorts. Naghihintay na lang ako sa mga bilyonaryo dito na magpagawa rin. Basta 10 room affair, okay na yan. So the next time I will call for the billionaires of the Philippines. Gusto ko silang kausapin dito. Magbigay kayo o kayo ang ipasok ko doon sa... Hindi, biro lang yan. Ayaw ko nang away, sir, ha? Si Mr. Quisay, does have that billion. Worker lang yan siya. Just like us. Walang mayaman dito. Kung meron, sabihin na kita ngayon, magbigay ka for your own good. Far from it actually. Kung sino lang gustong magtulong. Sino lang gustong magtulong. Pero ako dito, padaan na ako. Wala akong ambisyon. I won with the moribund PDP. Wala akong governor dito except, would you believe it? Dalawa lang ang governor ko. Puro babae. Ang isa na sa Mindanao. And only dito si Aimee, talagang kaibigan kami. She chose to support me. Yung isa naman sa Mindanao because of love. Love talaga yun. Love. Love talaga. I tell you, sabihin niya, if it reaches her ears, love talaga. Love at first sight. Pero gagawin, nanununtok yun. Tinamaan ako sa tiyan dito yung natumba ako. Just because she wants me all the time to be with her. Love. And all of these things that I'm doing is really because of love of my country. I'm not trying to be cruel. I do not want to be one. I said, I guarantee you. This is my guarantee to you. I do not have any illusions about the presidency. The only thing that can appease the Moro people is, the last card there is federalism. Payag sila. You know, I said, when Magellan came here, Mindanao was already Islam by 100 years. And the Spaniards and the Americans, pati tayo, never conquered the whole of the place because they think that we are the extension of the imperialists. So, ang pinakahingi lang nila is federal system. If they can, Congress can work out the federal system with your support. Kasi pag ayaw ninyo talagang, then ayaw ninyo okay lang, but forget about talking peace in Mindanao. They just have to continue financing people's money and soldiers, and of course, the other side, dying. Ako, pagka meron yan, in 2 or 3 years, because I a proponent ako doon sa, there are a lot of federal setups. But I think what is applicable to us, especially the ating gulo ngayon, of the communists, of the MILF, I would say go for a French system. Have a strong president with very, very limited powers. The power to call an election, dissolve a parliament, then the power to make war, and power of being chief of commander-in-chief of all armed forces. Dagdagan mo pa ng dalawa. Pero wag mong ibigay I'd like to remind you about Britain when they blew up the double-decker, and it took them several days to move because it was a collegial body, permanent yung Prime Minister. Hindi ba pakapa sila? Kapa. But dito sa atin, especially with so many islands, get a good president. I give you my word that if you can perfect it within 3 years, I will step down. Wala akong alis na ako. Then elect a president kasi obviously disqualified ako. I mean, for reasons of delicadeza, why mo gusto mo palitan ng tapos you are there? Just like Africa, bagong konstitusyon kada mga buang na yan, kung sino na ko po, ayaw na umalis. Kaya talagang sige yan sila patayan dyan. Sorry. Ako, I give you my word. If you have that next year, alis ako. I will not demand for the 6 years. Count me out. Sabihin na wala akong magdiktador na Duterte perpetuate in power, mag-demonstrate. Kung gusto mo, ngayon na mag-mass suicide tayo. Sige. Harap-harapan. Korne masyado, diktador. I have no. Tapos na ako. I have 23 years plus congressman plus viceman. Wala na akong hingiin pa sa Diyos. Mahirap yun. Kasi matanda na rin ako. Babay na lang lahat. 72 years old. Lahat man tayo 72. Time to say goodbye to everything. But if there is one available, time to say hello. Maraming salamat po.